I know that he's accrued a great deal of positive, what we call virtue, positive karma. So in that sense, I am sure he will accrue a good rebirth. But then again, a rebirth, which is the fate of those who have not recognized, able to recognize the clear light in the after-death period, or just before the death period, while the consciousness is still in the body, right after clinical death. So I'd like to talk a little bit about, what about when I die? Well, one of the first things to keep in mind, one of the first things in the non-draw is the four thoughts that change the mind, and those have to do with, but death is real. It comes without warning. This body will be a corpse. And it's not meant to be depressing. It's meant to just remind us. I mean, we in this culture, we like so much not to think about death will come. But death will come. Now, whether it comes soon or it comes late, it comes earlier, it becomes, again at night, or it becomes in the morning, that's something we don't know. My uncle did live to be 80 plus years old. However, not having practiced Dharma, that time in some sense was wasted. And the way to make time meaningful, our time in this life, it's almost again from Soja Rinpoche's Tibetan book of Living and Dying. There's a quote from, I believe it's Rumi, the poet, the Sufi poet, that it is as if a king had sent us to a kingdom to accomplish one thing, and we got amnesia and got involved in a million other things and did not do this. In another passage, Rumi compares a life that's not used in spirituality as having a bejeweled, wonderful sword and using it to butcher meat. So basically, without being theistic, without saying, God's plan, because that's not necessarily the way it is, but the fact that that's our mission in life, that's what we're here on this earth to do, is to free ourselves, become realized, and be able to help all other beings. So in that sense, you could say that's the purpose of life. On another sense, you could say that's just the way it is, just like gravity. It's not the purpose of matter to attract, it's just the way it is. This is the way it is spiritually. Things had to be a certain way, but this is the way they are. So we need to acknowledge that. So first thing, having said that, is don't waste your time. The time you have, you don't know whether tomorrow or the next life, nobody knows. So again, it's that the old masters would turn their cups upside down at night in their night tables, not knowing if the next day they would be using them. Somebody else might be able to use them because they were clean, left upside down. So the way to deal with this is to be alert and use every day, every moment. If we could, that's an ideal. I don't want to get perfectionistic. Don't go into a bout of guilt about your laziness. I'm one of the laziest people in the world. But within that, we use our will in a certain direction, and that's the direction of using our time wisely for Dharma practice, both in the cushion, on the cushion, I should say, and in everyday life, integrating into the action. So, having said that, what can we do in terms of practical things in this lifetime, again, to be able to achieve liberation? Well, there's a number of things that can be done. Lama Shenpen Hukham, by the way, has come up with a book about 2 years ago called "There's More to There's More to Death Than Dying." There's More to Death Than Dying by Lama Shenpen Hukham, and she has some very heartening, very good advice on practice. So if you're a practitioner, of course, the Tibetan book of Living and Dying has some powerful advice. So let's review a little bit. First of all, the practice of meditation, first and foremost. Meditation is a royal road to the recognition of the nature of mind. And we cannot really speak of practice beginning until we have this recognition, which is called also the child luminosity. Why is that? Because once the person is at the level of practicing this recognition, practicing with glimpses and glimpses and glimpses of this nature of mind, as Soja Rinpoche aptly teaches over and over and over. At that point, if we achieve a certain level of stability, even a minor level of stability. At the time of death, right after brain death, clinical death, the consciousness is still in the body for a period, and the personality is stripped bare, everything's stripped bare but this clear awareness. And that's when it said, if the practitioner has recognized this in life, in the physical, now it becomes much more powerful. The mother luminosity is said, or the clear awareness is recognized, and the two merge into one, and there's liberation and Buddhahood. So, you know, even with the great masters who are living Buddhas in this life, such as, for example, Kalu Rinpoche, Delgo Khyentse Rinpoche, Dudron Rinpoche, when they die, their parinirvana is celebrated, which is to say, when the body is stripped away, the capabilities of the Buddha bloom in full blossom. And again, if we practice in life and I wrote to have that recognition, then upon just before what's considered death in Buddhism, the consciousness is still in the body. I can't remember the levels of, you know, dark, red or white or whatever, but to say that at some point the consciousness is completely stripped bare, all that karma is suspended, so to speak, and this is the moment of possibly recognition. Now, and a person who has not practiced in an animal, this goes like that. But the person might remembers that they fainted, and then they wake up in the bardo of becoming, which is really the anteroom, the waiting room for the next rebirth already. So already, you know, we missed the main primary opportunity. There are others, and this is part of what's spoken of in the Tibetan Book of so-called Tibetan Book of the Dead, the the Book of Great Liberation in the Bardo. Bardo Toto Chempo, and that's because it addresses really after the clear light. I mean, the first paragraph says if you could recognize, you know, something like if you're a practitioner, you can recognize a clear light, you need no further instructions. Now, there's other things to do. For example, in Buddhism, we very much, if you can believe in this, hopefully, we very much believe in the existence of Buddhas and celestial beings who can help us. Buddhas can be even realized people just like you and me. For example, Milarepa, who is not a celestial Buddha, who's not a tulku, he was just a human being with incredibly negative karma, who worked through his karma and became liberated. He became a Buddha. Milarepa, in some dimension, that awareness, that mind stream, is active, helping others. And if we turn to Buddhas like, Shakyamuni Buddha, Amitabha Buddha, Guru Rinpoche, who's the embodiment of all Buddhas, if we pray to those entities, those beings, it is as if they are here, because they are here. So as the moment you pray to the Buddhas, perhaps even the instant before you pray to the Buddhas, they know what's going on in your brain better than you do, the Buddhas will be there with you to help you. And if you develop, it's all very much a matter of developing a habit. You can't wait to not practice and then the moment of death say, oh gee, even though that is helpful to have good intention at the moment of death, it creates a certain momentum, but you can't expect to deal with the chaos and the confusion of after death without a habit. I haven't created a habit before. Meditation stabilizes the mind, very powerful to stabilize the mind after death. Praying to the Buddhas, establishing a link. There are certain Buddhas who have promised to create a pure land.